It's almost time to connect.
On today's episode, we have two Black Power couples who combined represent 75 years of Black love and relationships.
We also gonna go back to Nataki's kitchen and we will prepare some aphrodisiacs for you and your babe.
And we've got a special sweet treat for you with a performance from Marvin Lewis, spoken word artist, all about Black love. All that and more in tonight's episode of Connect.
You've been craving a change in Black media, and Let's Buy Black's Positive Black Media Project is bringing it to you every Monday night. Get your fix with the all-new breakout show that features the best in Black music, culture, education, business, fitness, technology, entertainment, and lifestyle. Get ready to meet your new favorite host, along with brilliant entrepreneurs, powerful activists, chefs. Watch a segment featuring your favorite positive Black media producers, youth initiatives, community organizations, elders, business leaders, world leaders, hot entertainers, and more. Tune in Mondays at 8 p.m. to connect.
Let's Buy Black 360.
Yeah, Let's Buy Black 360.
Let's Buy Black 365.
It's everything. We're blacking it out.
Get plugged in and tune in to letsbuyblack365.com/connecttv.
It's that time, y'all. Get on your feet and put your hands together.
Welcome to another episode of Connect by Let's Buy Black 365. I'm your host, Talib.
And I'm Nataki.
And today we have a very powerful segment for you all, family.
Yeah, you know, this is part 3 in our Black Love series. It has just been phenomenal from the beginning. We had my mother kick it off with a whole breakdown on the self-love needed to be able to create or maintain the Black love. We had Ava Laura, who just, you know, kind of blew us out of the water. We're still doing the hand thing.
You know, my back, like
the exercises that both of them gave. Then we had Veronica Conway, who talked about the polarity and the magnetic polarity of the sisters and the electric polarity of the brothers, and how brothers are leaking testosterone when they ain't telling the truth.
That stuck with you.
That, you know, it was just like, okay. And today is gonna be incredible. We have two Black Power couples who combined. These couples have been together for 75 years.
That's crazy numbers. And you know, what's interesting about these couples that we have on the show is, you know, you get familiar with those that you see in the mass media.
Yeah.
You know, you get familiar with the Denzel Washingtons and Pauletta Washingtons and Will and Jada.
Right.
And, you know, Ice Cube and his wife.
Right,
you
right.
know?
Omar Epps.
And Keisha, you know.
And of course, Barack and Michelle Obama.
Of course.
You know, regardless of your politics, you can look at that couple, you can see the love, you can see how much they've created with their family. It's just so beautiful to watch. So, you know, we have examples of Black love, but it still seems like it's so hard to find it sometimes.
You know, and it was interesting because First Lady Obama said something really deep about President Obama. She said that one of the things that attracted her to President Obama was his emotional honesty, you know. And right off the bat, he said what he felt, and that was for her, she felt very fortunate to be with a brother like that.
She is fortunate to be with a brother like that. That's so beautiful. Their whole relationship is so inspiring. And like I said, regardless of your politics, just to be able to look at, you know, what they created together, what they built together, and, you know, just how they interacted with each other. And even, you know, just looking at some of the pictures, it's just like, wow, that is Black love.
It's just the imagery that relationship in particular just changed on a national level, international level.
International level,
you know, it's crazy. And then in the media, you have this narrative of, oh, well, it's good to be single. You know, not having this relationship with these type of bonds. But you've noticed that there are even some prominent artists that are talking about actually being in sustainable relationships. You even had a song with Trey Songz talking about, you know, he's tired of being a playboy, and that, you know, he's tired of just going in and out of clubs, and he actually may want something that's more sustaining.
Wow. So, you know, we're going to get right to it because we have a packed show for you. We have got Mama Mawiyah and Baba Kamau Kambon. We have got Mama Yaa and Baba Mwalimu Baruti. We've got another spectacular performance that kind of goes in with the theme of Black love. So you'll hear from Marvin later in the show. And we have heard from so many people that they love the cooking segment in the first show, and they're like, when you gonna cook again? And I was like, well, you know, it's not a cooking show, but, you know, we're gonna get it in there. Like, we want cooking. So we have got some real good cooking segments in for you, so you can figure out some good meals to make for that special person in your life. So yeah, gonna be a great show. We're gonna take a break and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I am so excited about this segment. You know, this is all about Black love, and we have with us today my favorite couple who represents the epitome of real Black love.
Absolutely.
So definitely want to welcome to the show. They're known as Dr. and Dr. Kambon. They're also known as Mama Mawiyah and Baba Kamau, but I call them Mom and Dad. Mom and Dad, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Nataki.
Thank you, Nataki.
Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, so, you know, you all have been together for 43 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
You know, and, you know, there's so many people. We were talking earlier and people were saying they don't even know people who have even, you know, been in enough consecutive relationships to last 43 years, let alone one relationship. Can you talk a little bit about, you know, how you all came together and what some of the foundation of your relationship is before we get into how we can try and find that kind of love for ourselves?
We met at Columbia University. We were both in graduate school at the time, and I don't believe there's a formula for a relationship, but one of the ingredients is like making a cake. You have to have the right ingredients, and I think when we met we had the right ingredients, and one of which was authenticity, that we were both honest and we were authentic. We were really organic, and we were at the age where we had deleted things that we may have been doing earlier. Not to say that those things were negative, but we were mature at the time.
And I think also for each of us, without saying so necessarily, is that we were not perfect, but we saw the potential because we were both on a similar path. And so that has continued, you know, as we've developed over the years. To add, though, I think one other ingredient was that we could see the good character in each other. We were not, I don't think, selfish people, so we didn't bring that into the relationship. We weren't overly needy, and we operated from a foundation of good character.
That's powerful.
Yeah. And has that carried forward throughout the duration of your relationship?
You know, for me, I see that we have grown. You know, I'm certainly not the same woman that I was 43 years ago. And a lot of our being together has brought with it a lot of education, a lot of challenges, but working toward those things together.
And I think that having children in a relationship really helps. It helps to bring about greater solidarity, and we know that, I have an expression that any differences that we may have are not greater than the differences than those we're fighting against. So whenever things get difficult, we know that as a wife and a husband, that it's us against the world, if I could put it in that context. So that we have to work together. As far as the differences go, you know, I have the paradigm that talks about the different selves, and the different selves, you know, the psychological, the cultural, the economic, the education, the political. Hopefully that each partner will be compatible and work the same way to develop each self. So one might be working on the economic self, the other might be working on the psychological self, but they're working in conjunction with one another, not in opposite directions. So I think we have to identify the different selves, identify where a person is on the paradigm, and then that way we know where each one is coming from. But again, I think it goes back to being authentic, to being committed to the relationship, to being loyal in the relationship, and to having trust in each other. And that we're not in a relationship to hurt each other. I think that is important, that we have these factors that we have to consider, that we're not intentionally trying to hurt each other, and we're moving together in solidarity, because as Nana said, the family is the foundation for everything. So I hope that that answers the question.
Definitely.
And so, as I was saying too, understanding that men and women are different, and they are supposed to be different. You're not one person. You're a unit that's come together with the balance. You know, the female, she is the first mother, the first teacher, the first nurse. She's the first spiritual leader in the family. And so she must work herself to heighten those things. And her mate should help her enhance those things. Males are warriors. They're the thinkers. They are the ones, the doers. They are the ones that hold the strength and continue the legacy in that way. And so we must realize that that energy sometimes can seem overpowering or powerful. And we need to know how to flow and ebb with that. So it's real important that we not try to come into a relationship trying to have someone be more like me. And where that plays out in the world is that one person might be greater in finances than the other. So maybe traditionally it was a man's role to handle the finances. Well, that's not always true, because in African tradition, the market women are usually the ones greater in finance. But whoever it is, you look at yourselves and see who is greater in handling finances, so you don't have problems along that route. And they can be the main one responsible for that. Today we have a problem because sisters want to give up what they call roles, which are mothering, cooking, cleaning, all of those kinds of things, and say, well, why can't we share? Well, there's nothing wrong with that. But someone ultimately has to be responsible.
Right.
And if you are the first mother, the first teacher, the one responsible for guiding the family, then someone usually is the woman who takes on those things.
Right.
That doesn't abdicate the man from his role and responsibility of making sure that you're not worn out by taking care of those things.
Yeah. There was an incident that happened to us early in our relationship. One morning, Nana was running around, you know, taking care of everything, and I was sitting there, I was reading, and I looked up and I saw her running around, and I said to myself, she can't do all this by herself. And from that moment on, I started to do dishes, take out the trash,
You were doing that.
change diapers, whatever it was. But the point is that we have to interchange the roles and do whatever we have to do. If this is what it takes to keep this family going, then this is what we're going to do. That's it. And that, I think that, and then having projects. And boy, do we have a lot of projects.
Over the years, we've had many.
Yeah, so projects also keep you together, you know, because it gives you a focus and a goal. So,
and again, not fake projects, but projects on the road to your goal. Our
Right.
goal has always been liberation of African people. So how can we do that? Partly by practicing it. So many of you know the story that we built our own home. We delivered our children at home with midwives. You know, many of those things we saw as contributing on that path. Having a garden, looking into ways to downsize from the economic stranglehold that this country has against us. That has also brought us close together. So we have to really look at Black love very differently than what is portrayed in the theaters and movie screens by others who don't have our interests at heart.
Wow, that, you know, I'm learning something from my own parents in this interview.
We all are.
And, you know, I'm like, okay, to hear a Black man say that he saw this sister running around doing all this stuff, and then he was just like, I can't let her do that. Like, I would ask for Dad, I was gonna call you Mama and Baba, but Dad, I guess, what advice would you have for Black men to get to the point to transition to be that for Black women? Because I think a lot of Black women feel like men are not stepping up, or not assuming that kind of role, and are not even trying to be that accountable. What advice would you have for Black men? And then after that, Mom, I would ask, you know, the nurturing role. There's so many things in Western society that say that, you know, women shouldn't want to be nurturers, shouldn't want to take care of the children, shouldn't want to cook and take care of the household, and all these different kinds of things. And it really strips us of our power to control the health and just, you know, the well-being of our families, because we bought into that narrative. Can you talk about what sisters can do to assume that kind of a role, so that, and I'm thinking of Veronica's interview where she talked about the magnetic polarity with the sisters and the energetic polarity. That's exactly what they're talking about. So could you talk about Dad and then Mom, the role that you think brothers can do to kind of step into that, and the role that sisters can do to step into that?
well, I think that there are some good models of manhood, but you'll never find them on TV. And there are other couples that I know that have been.
Today it's too easy to give up on relationships. They're hard because we don't have communities, we don't have elders, we don't have parents who are willing to sit there, and we don't have youth who are willing to go to the elders, because trust is a problem all across our community. Trusting in the elders to be elders, trusting in each other, and trusting in self. You don't know self, you can't trust self.
So on that point, Mom, I just, you know, that whole trust and everything, I love that you all have served as community elders to so many people. You know, there's so many people who are like, isn't so-and-so your sister, or so-and-so your brother?
Everybody.
I know it was a thing for a while, because Professor Griff from Public Enemy always refers to my parents as his parents, and so people were like, aren't you Griff's sister? It's like, no, you know. So you know, that role of elders is just so important. And I'm wondering, how do you think people can find elders, and is there a way that if you don't, you know, the elders may not be the older people in your family, but, you know, how do people find people like you who have the actual guidance, as opposed to just being, you know, there's a difference between an elder versus someone who is just old,
right?
You know. Right. So, you know, how do people begin to seek out that elder wisdom?
I think one of the things is that find people who have wisdom. You know, find people who have some wisdom and who have a range of experiences. who can sit down and talk with you about the things, the direction that you should be going in. So you just have to observe people, you know, look at them over a long span of time to see what they have done in their own lives. You know, that's the acid test. You know, what have they done?
And that's perfect, because we talk about that, you know, I talked to someone earlier this week who said, well, I don't know that, you know, this movement over here is really viable because I've seen people in it who are not doing X, Y, and Z, or I don't know this. And people, you know, my response to that is, just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, and doesn't mean that the entire thing is broken. You have to look for successful models and then adopt that. You can't look at a broken system and say, oh, that doesn't work right here in this broken, fractured way, so, you know, it just must not be a good approach. So I think looking at models is incredible, and I deeply love and appreciate you for being a model for me and so many other families and couples. You know, you've for those of you who don't know, my mother performs and officiates wedding ceremonies and baby naming ceremonies. So and of course, being a child and family and couples counselor, she's literally responsible for so many Black families, Black unions, Black marriages.
Just a pillar.
Yeah.
Just a pillar within the community.
And and I know, you know, they've collectively done counseling for people. So, you know, that's so beautiful. And the nice thing, we're running out of time, so some of this is going to go up on the web. Right. So you can check out more on letsbuyblack.com/connecttv to see more of this interview. And also, we just found out that Mom and Dad are going to be featured in the Black Love edition of the next issue of Get This Wisdom magazine. Oh, excellent. Along with Professor Griff and Soleil, who, ironically enough, being his parents, Mom officiated that wedding ceremony. So it'll be nice to have both couples, the elder and the younger couple, in that issue. So we're super excited to see that issue of Get This Wisdom coming out. So. Oh my goodness! Like, thank you so much, Mama and Baba Kambon, for blessing us with this interview and really being the pillar and model that so many people can look at to adopt within their lifestyle. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we're going to take a break, and we'll see you back in a little bit.
Peace and love, family. Get This Wisdom magazine is the hottest new publication that focuses on empowering our African community. It delivers inspiring interviews, relevant articles, cultural news, spiritual tips, health and wellness, children's activities, and more. Y'all gotta read this, family. Go to www.getthiswisdommagazine.com now. I mean, right now.
You know, that, just talking to my parents, you know, sometimes I'll be honest, it feels really daunting, the, you know, prospect of finding relationships and all that, but it's so inspirational listening to them and how they built their family and you know, just what they've created within community. And, you know, one of the things that they talked about is, you know, they've started businesses together, they've done projects together, like they do things together as a couple. And it's so important for couples to not just be together and exist, but to actually do kind of relationship building activities together. Absolutely. So, just like cooking, you know, and how you can keep it fresh. Not just in a relationship, but fresh in the kitchen. Yes. And so this next segment, we're about to go into the kitchen and show you how you can bond together just as a couple and help keep the relationship fresh. Yes. So we're going to take a break and we'll be back in a minute.
Aluna kande so diala. Aluna kande foli aluna kande dugu diala. Aluna kande so diala. Aluna kande, foli aluna kande sodiala. Aluna kande sodiala. Aluna kande jembe fola aluna kande dugudiala. Aluna kande sodiala. Aluna kande, foli aluna kande sodiala. Yeah, aluna kande sodiala. Aluna kande, foli aluna kambara dugudiambolo. Aluna kande sodiala. Aluna kande, foli aluna kande sodiala. Aluna kande sodiala. Aluna kande, sewa de luna kande dugudiala. Aluna kande sodiala. Aluna kande, foli aluna kande sodiala.
From antiquity to the present, our people need to develop a new paradigm. It's time for an awakening with your host, Brother Elliot. Sundays, 7 p.m., Fridays at 8 p.m. For podcasting or live program scheduling, hit us up at timeforanawakening@gmail.com.
Black love is black power.
So we're back in the Taki's kitchen, and we've been talking about black love, you know, throughout the show. And cooking is a great way to really help build the relationship and maintain it too.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of dishes today that are super quick, easy to make, but that are in line with the whole black love theme.
Let's get it.
Yeah. So the first thing we're going to make is a dish I created called grape baked apples. So it's super easy to make. It looks really pretty, and for those of you who are following like Dr. Sebi's diet, it's something that you can enjoy too. So
I'm ready. Let's
all right. So simple ingredients: you need apples, grape juice, and then you just need your spices, which are cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and that's really it.
All right. Okay. So what's the first step?
First step. So I've started some apples. I'm gonna have you peel 2 more apples.
Okay.
And get your pot and start with your grape juice. And so really you're just gonna immerse these apples in your grape juice. So as much juice as you can put in. This is organic grape juice. And so they're grape baked apples. I've got my oven preheated to 450, and we're gonna do it 2 ways. We're gonna do the baked version, which takes about 15-20 minutes, and then we're also gonna do the faster version. So I am gonna spoon in a healthy dose of nutmeg.
It smells good already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are cloves, and you know, cloves are just have an amazing yeah.
I just learned what they were today, fam.
Yeah, cloves just have a really, really powerful scent, and the combination of cloves and cinnamon and nutmeg are just really, really powerful. And then you just want to douse it in cinnamon. The more the better. So I just added all of my cinnamon and a dash of ginger.
I learned a little something last time. Last time we were on the show. So being around a vegan chef kind of helps to improve it.
Yeah, so you just have all that in there, and this is super, super easy. Once your apples are peeled, you literally just add them in, and you put them on the stove to simmer.
So how did you come up with this dish?
I actually was just trying to create a really healthy dish, but you know, the breads and the oils and the combining flour and oil, which is in most desserts that are pastry oriented, is not the healthiest. And this is really, really tasty, and you know, it doesn't have all of that. Yeah. So and then because of the purpleness of the grape juice, it kind of gives it a really good flavor, and it gives it a really nice color. So while he's doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing in here for the ones we're gonna bake in the oven. So we're gonna, again, pour our juice. We're gonna add in our cinnamon, cloves, ginger, and nutmeg. And just sprinkle it on. And so what ends up happening is the spices end up getting super, super, super absorbed into the apple. And even if you kind of throw them in there, they mix evenly, so it gives it a whole nice balanced flavor.
I love it, and the fact that you're able to do this, you know, with your significant other, your partner, like, it really helps to kind of, one, if you don't know how to cook, it definitely helps if your partner does, you know.
Because it's easy, yeah.
Yeah, but also kind of just, this is something, a fun, fresh activity that you can do to help build, you know, the relationship.
Yeah, cooking is just really nice, you know, first of all, the whole health of the relationship starts with what you're eating. The mental health, the spiritual health, all relates to the food that you're taking in. So to be able to create something healthy together is really beautiful. So you can take these, you can do it the same way where you put the apples in. We can actually do it two different ways. We can also take the apple, and let's take the cutting board over here a little bit. Yeah, and I'll let you use your strength here.
All right.
And you can actually slice the apple.
Okay.
There you go.
See, I was doing well.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. So you can do it, you can either put the whole apple in, or you could do it like this and add the slices.
Listen to it.
Yeah, you want to go ahead?
Having too much fun in the kitchen, y'all.
See, I don't have the upper body strength to do that yet. That's why I got to get back on the BB2Me Casa Health and Fitness Challenge so I can get my upper body strength for this.
Yeah.
So.
We don't throw anything away.
I know, right? So all the apples are in there. We've got the juice kind of over it. We've got our oven preheated. So Talib, I'm gonna let you put this in the oven.
Okay. I'm gonna take that other one too. No. And the fact that we're using apples, everything is healthy, everything is fresh.
Right.
You know, like just the continual promotion of health.
Right.
Really.
And you know, the other thing is there's a variation where you can actually do this if you're on a live food diet. You can mix all of that and let it marinate overnight, so you don't have to bake it, and you get the same effect.
See, this is so, and you don't even need to go to like the sugary foods and any of that.
No.
This provides with the sweetness and everything.
Right. The grape juice is plenty sweet, and the nice thing about it is, you know, we don't want a lot of sweets in our diet. You know, we've been kind of conditioned to like sweets, but the reality is too many sweets, most of us know, are not healthy. But the cinnamon and the cloves in this actually kind of balance it out so that you're not getting, you know, so much sugar. So yeah, cinnamon is a really good balancer. Yeah, so our apples should be done. So we can go ahead and take them off the heat and take them out of the oven.
Okay. Smell-o-vision, y'all. I wish you had it.
Yeah, seriously. Wow. And these are super, super hot, so be careful as you're taking them out of the oven.
Beautiful.
And so we're gonna let these cool, and we'll be right back.
All right.
Imagine everything you could do while New Business Solutions starts, helps, or scales your company. You could work a full-time job, travel the world, plan for the future, spend time with loved ones, help your community, take time for yourself, get back to basics, breathe a sigh of relief. When will you be ready to finally get to where you want to be? Call 301-244-9072 or visit newbusinesssolutions.com to book your free consultation.
All right, family, so we are finished with our apples.
Okay.
It's like you're not a chef till you baste it. Right? So we do a little bit of that.
Show that off.
There you go. So let me plate it.
Wow.
We already have the whipped cream, coconut. You know.
Coconut whipped cream is so good, and it's such a good flavor with this. All right, so Talib is now officially a chef, right?
No, you're not a chef until you do this. Let me add a little, like that, you know. You gotta drizzle it. And
seriously, don't think that, you know, what's left in the pot is just extra. You can drink this warm, you can drink it, you can chill it and drink it. Sometimes, you know, I actually make this as a beverage for parties sometimes. So this is definitely a part of the meal.
Excellent. All right. Let's put it down and get to work.
Yes.
Okay, so you gonna do the honors for us, or should I?
Okay, I think we both do.
Okay.
You see that color is so pretty.
Yeah.
Let's set it down so I don't throw it on the floor.
There we go.
Get some of that whipped cream in here.
Do it like that. Lift it up. I'm not even gassing, y'all. This is delicious. For real. Waiting all day for this.
So definitely make sure your apples cool down before you serve them, because they are super, super hot.
This is really good. And how do you decide about the texture?
Yeah, it's really up to you. Like I said, you can make the coconut, the juice with the spices and stick it in the refrigerator and still have it as a raw dish, or you can bake it in the oven or simmer it and get it to the consistency like you would for like an apple pie.
Excellent for couples.
And the lower the heat, or the longer you can leave it on, and you can actually get the get that color all the way through.
Ah, good to know.
All right, everybody. So this has been another cooking segment in Nataki's kitchen. We made our great baked apples. Check out Connect and Abibi to Mikasa for the recipe and for alternative recipe ideas, and we'll see you in the next segment. Welcome back, everybody. So, you know, we're gonna keep it flowing. We've got two more powerful guests who are powerful in their own right and have created a real Black love union and family, and who are just staples in our community. We're so excited and honored today to have Mama Yaa and Baba Baruti on the phone with us.
Welcome.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Greetings.
Yes.
Peace.
So we're gonna jump right into the heart of it, because everybody is just really excited and curious to know, how do we find, keep, maintain Black love? And so really want to start with you, just a little bit about your story, how you all came together, and what do you think is the foundation that has kept you together for, is it 32 years?
Wow.
Baruti and I actually met in grad school, and we married, had our daughter within 1 year in 1985. Part of our story is that even when we initially met, what attracted us to each other was that we were pro-Black at that time. And this was prior to us having an understanding of being African, but that was the common denominator, as well as we were at a predominantly white school, and there weren't many of us, but that was, you know, worked in our favor. We were more quickly able to meet each other. But we quickly, when finding a school for our daughter, we found an African-centered school, which led us on the path of, you know, learning and becoming African. And I think that's a major part of our story. And actually, we've pretty much been attached at the hip. Not that that was the plan, but we were both in grad school. Then we both started teaching on the college level. And when we moved to Atlanta to teach at Morehouse, we found this African-centered community, and it became a major uniting point for us and allowed us to grow, and it nurtured having that village of like-minded people and learning more about who we were as African people, all work together to lead us to what led to our life's work of teaching younger children versus initially teaching on the college level, where we have our own independent African-centered homeschool program called the Kambon Institute. And at the same time, Baruti started writing books, doing lectures on those books, and our self-publishing company, Kambon House. But having the two of us being African and all that that entails is, I would say, the foundation.
Wow, that's
marriage.
Beautiful.
It really is.
So I would ask so I heard the elements of kind of being on the same path, having the commonality of knowledge of self, and then growing and building together while being surrounded by a supportive community. Those are really, really powerful elements.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
With that being said, like, what would you advise for those who are seeking to find and establish something that you have, just starting out? Like, what would you advise young folks to do to try to obtain, you know, the powerful union that you have?
The advice I tend to give out, which came from a question many years ago, there was a young lady, in fact, who asked, how did you all stay together so long? I thought about it for a few minutes, and then I said, it's because the vision is the same. You have to operate on an umbrella, and that umbrella, the priorities of that umbrella, which for us is the liberation of African people, African sovereignty, that has to be greater than your own personal aspirations, because there's going to be differences, there's going to be difficulties. But if you have a vision, if you have a collective priority that's much greater than your own personal desires, or the things that you want, or the place you want to live, or what have you, then it will carry you forward. Of course, preceding that has to be, we counsel lots of people and lots of compliments, lots of couples, lots of people who wanted to get married, etc., etc. And one of the things I've concluded from that is that if you're looking for someone and you're trying to be African, and not just if you're trying to be African, really a Negro, it really doesn't make a difference what you're trying to be, but you need to look in the places where those people are doing that work, if you will. So I say, if you're looking for someone, then do the work. And of course, earnestly do the work. Don't be playing the game of just being there so that you can find somebody.
I muted it. We can still hear the bass too. I think they turned it down.
You have one individual looking for
right above us, 301.
The power that they can latch onto, but they really aren't concerned about the politics. They really could care less about the politics. They're hunting. So if you are earnestly about the business of commitment, which of course is a priority. This isn't a dating game. You're supposed to be in there looking for a commitment, because you're supposed to be about the process of being African, and that means that you are looking to build family and build community, not play games. So if there is long-term factor, or the factor that contributes to the longest-term relationships, is that the people, when they meet, they're doing the work. They're not looking for a relationship per se. That doesn't mean that they're trying to be single, but they're busy doing the work, and the other person is busy doing the work, and that brings them together.
Wow.
And you mentioned.
Just want to add one thing to that. I think being open, because oftentimes people with emotional baggage from past relationships, their whole energy pushes people away from them. But being loving and open to healing, not being overly aggressive, which of course sometimes people start feeling desperate, and that of course repels people. But at the same time, not being too laid back in that people don't notice you or think that you're interested, but being open. I would just want to add that.
Can I ask, what role do you think, I was having a conversation, our guest on the show last week was Veronica Conway, and she is a Panther Cub. They actually made a documentary film about her life called Daughter of a Panther, and we were having a conversation earlier today just about finding love and keeping it together and all of that. And one of the challenges that we hear some brothers say, they don't see sisters who have the qualities that they're looking for, and maybe it means they're not doing enough of the work to put themselves in spaces. And then we also hear sisters saying that they don't see the brothers. Do you feel like there's a role for elders to play in creating some of that black unity and creating more of those black unions? Because one of the things that we just heard Mama and Baba Kamau talk about, Mama Mawiyah and Baba Kamau talk about, and what I'm hearing echoed in what you said in terms of the complements you're bringing together, is that elders are playing a role in helping to create, or at least keep together some of the couples. But what are your thoughts on the role of elders in helping individuals find each other?
That depends on the individuals involved. We have evolved into mimicking Europe's extremely individualized way, and we have fallen so much for this love thing, and love of course is important, but it's in many ways defined differently along African lines. An example of that is the understanding that people don't fall in love initially. That's something that occurs over many, many years of getting to know this individual. We've been bamboozled in terms of that concept. The elders can't play any larger of a role than the potential complements allow. If the elders are to do the work that they are here to do relative to complementarity, then those people who are saying, and I know that they're being honest, are saying that they're looking for somebody else, has to be willing to trust the elders' judgment in terms of who they are a good match for.
Wow.
We can count that, of course, into people who are brought together to get married and they don't know each other and all the rest of that. But it's worked for us for tens of thousands of years.
Right.
True.
So we just talked about models and using successful models. So there's the 10,000-year-old model, or there's the 200-year-old, not even model of chaos with 50+% divorce rates. So that's a very, very valid point. And so I want to ask, you talk about the compliments, and we had actually had this conversation in part before, but I had shared that I have come across a couple of couples who said that part of their courtship process or their getting to know each other process was to read your book Complementarity. And I just thought that was such a beautiful undertaking to say, you know, we're going to make the foundation of starting this relationship, making sure that we're coming at it from an African-centered perspective, you know, with the elder wisdom and, you know, with this concept of complementarity. Can you talk a little bit about the book and what it was designed to do, and your thoughts on couples who are actually using it as a roadmap to building strong Black unions?
Well, personally, I may be a little biased, but
that's okay.
Sorry.
It's working, so I think it's good I think it's fine that you're biased. So.
The book was for warriors, and it was designed to give the best of the idea about what relationships are supposed to be about and how they're supposed to progress from the point of contact to you've been together forever. So essentially what I attempted to do was to look at relationships through the eyes of our ancestors and to pull together those things that were most important in the relationships historically for African people, which is very different than what we see here. So I'm very pleased when I hear, especially when folks are reading it together, that they're looking at this book as an idea on how they should approach this situation, because they want to do it correctly. They want to be African. We can't be African following a European model. And of course, I can't sit up and critique, or I couldn't sit up and critique European ways of doing this without being able to hand them something that says this is the African way of doing this. So the book was essentially designed to do that, to give potential compliments and people who were together already a guidebook on what it means to be African compliments.
And I would ask, do you so I haven't read the book because my thought was this would be good when I guess I should speak positivity. I meet a brother, you know, it'd be good to do as a couples exercise. Would you say that the book is better for you know, compliments individually or for couples or both? How do you think it is best digested?
I think it's digested by anyone, best digested by anybody who wants to be African. Whether you, we have students here who are in middle school who will read it, and they're quite a bit away from that commitment. Of course, individuals who are trying to think about it, individuals who are engaged, individuals who just got married, have been married for 20, 30, 40 years. I think that it's a good reader for all of it, either in terms of getting a better idea about what we need to be looking for or how we need to approach this, as well as looking at how we can improve this, because most of us, if we've been married 40, 50 years maybe, we didn't necessarily come into the relationship being African. That was something that we grew into or were growing into it at the time. So I guess I wouldn't call it a workbook. I call it more of a think book in terms of how we need to approach the very idea of relationships between a man and a woman from the African tradition. So I don't think that there's any limitations. I don't think anyone should be exempt from that, and that's not what you're saying. But I don't think anyone should be exempt from it, and I don't really see any boundary except someone being too young to understand language in there.
Gotcha. Wow.
Bob and Mama, how would one in our community, you know, you have some of us who may not necessarily understand, you know, just the importance of understanding self, because that's one thing that you're talking about that's akin to Mama and Baba Kambon, and they mentioned in the interview earlier. But how does one go about being African and maintaining just that union as African people when you may be in an environment that isn't necessarily conducive for that, or it's kind of hard to see models of that? What would
when you don't have that African community around you like you all have?
Absolutely. So what would you all advise regarding that?
Well, I would say a distinct advantage in today's world is the internet, you know, electronics. And so we do know of couples, families who don't have African environments. Of course, they have to work harder to maintain those long distance relationships, but I know, you know, we definitely have some, because when people recognize the importance of having that village, well, those people travel as much as possible to, you know, be able to participate in the village when they're able to. And for some people, you know, they make the decision to relocate where there is a village, because you are at a distinct disadvantage when there aren't really complements. If you're looking for people who are on the same page with you politically, which you should be, and you live somewhere where that is not the case, if you want to complement, you know, you may have to make that move, or at minimum, you have to establish those long-distance relationships and traveling as much as possible to actually physically be present at events where you're going to meet people. And I know, for example, we do an annual conference on complementarity, you know, African male-female relationships. And we have people who come from out of town because they're living somewhere, you know, predominantly white areas, or you can, you know, be in a black area, but no one is conscious or African-centered. You still have to make that extra effort.
And so those workshops, is it primarily couples? Is it individuals? Who can take advantage of those workshops? Or that conference?
It's for all of the above. So we have couples there. We have couples who have, you know, children. We have single individuals. We have individuals who have children. I like to look at it as just a
community
gathering where you have people who understand that they are African and who are trying to find someone like mine, and it's an environment where it's a comfortable place to do that in. And you can, you know, look around and talk to people and all the rest of that good stuff that couples do, or people looking for each other do. So it's more like a meeting place, but I don't want to put it in those terms, because when we say meeting place or club,
it's clear.
They're conscious of something completely different.
It's clear. Okay.
So, Mama and Baba, do you have any resources that you would suggest or advise to those that are trying to learn more about how to find and maintain healthy relationships?
Yes, well, thankfully, you two have already mentioned Baba's book, Brother Ruth's book, Complementarity, Thoughts for African Warrior Couples. But I want to add to that 2 books by the Black marriage counselor, Ron, R-O-N-N, Elmore. One is How to Love a Black Man. The other one is How to Love a Black Woman. And I recommend that women read both of them and men read both of them. Because in addition to, they'll help you in finding someone, but in terms of maintaining, we need to understand that there are differences, and that's a major problem in maintaining our relationships. The other book is called Lubrication for Liberation. Can Black People Get Along? It is a book on, a short book, but a step-by-step guide to resolving conflicts. Again, that book will help you not only in your marriages, but romantic relationships, but all your relationships. And that's by Baba Sanyika, Sanyika, last name, and Weezie, Anwisye.
Okay.
Excellent.
Wow. Yeah. I actually read How to Love a Black Man and How to Love a Black Woman years ago. I won't put a date on it, but both were really guiding and enlightening. So I definitely would also recommend those books. Yeah. And now that I'm thinking about it, you know, all the titles we've mentioned and what I'm gathering from Complementarity, which I will be getting a copy of immediately, is that, you know, these are not the kind, you know, these aren't novels. Right. So it's not intended for you to just read it and put it down. I'm sure, you know, you probably get something the first time you read it, and then you get something refreshing and different, and once you apply it, you're constantly growing. So it's probably a dynamic relationship with the book. So I'm definitely gonna pull those back off my bookshelf and dive into those too. So yeah.
And Scott, may I add something?
Yeah, definitely.
We have DVDs. Brother Baruti and I taught a 4-lecture course on complementarity relationships, where he did 2 of the lectures, I did 2 as well. We have DVDs available of the previous conferences that we've done. So, you know, those are resources for people as well.
Excellent.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So, so we're going to read the books that you said. We're going to, you know, look at the conferences. We're going to attend the conferences. Can you also share you know, we always end the show on solutions. Can you share maybe one individual or couple exercise or activity that we can maybe integrate into our daily lives that can help us either find or attract what we're looking for, or can help us maintain it if we found our complement and just want it to grow?
Well, I would say using the power of affirmation, so being spiritually in tuned to being open to that, and even if you're open to marriage, complementary relationships, and if you're already in there, being spiritually affirming, you know, a relationship based on the laws of Ma'at, where there's love, harmony, you know, we support each other. But the power of daily affirming what you want to attract, whether that's someone to come and exactly what you want, but if you're in, how you want that to, you maintain what you have, or, you know, improve upon what you have in your relationship.
Okay. Well,
thank you. We got our assignment.
Wow, you know, that was just so, it is so inspirational. And you know, I'm just thinking of the 32 years of marriage and togetherness that you have, and
plus the 43
for my parents. So that's 75 years of elder wisdom. So when we look at the whole concept of relationships, we have living models who are giving us the tools that we need to find and create real Black love and relationships.
In the community.
In the community.
Yeah.
So, you know, this has been such a blessing. We thank you so much for being here all the way from Atlanta. And we definitely would love to have you back. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Asante sana,
Madasi Pa. Madasi. Abibi Fahodie.
Life is filled with stressful moments and reasons to celebrate. You can be your own source of strength and power. African spirituality is the foundation for your life's journey. I am Dr. Mawiyah Kambon, psychologist and traditional healer. Allow me to be your guide on your journey to relieve, release, restore, and enhance.
You know, that segment, you know, I love the Barutis. They are just such a power couple, and my parents, this whole Black Love and Relationship series has been so inspirational. Absolutely. And, you know, especially I hear so many people talk about they don't see models, they don't see, you know, evidence that it even exists or that it's possible to find it. And so, you know, speaking as a single Black woman, I can say that, you know, I'm really inspired about what I heard. I'm definitely going to read some of these books. I'm going to be attending some of these conferences. And so, yeah, that's...
The best part about it is that they gave us resources, you know, like resources to really help to improve or find whatever it is that we're trying to find to build this strong African nation, this union.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly.
So, but unfortunately, we ran out of time, y'all. But, you know, we have a special treat for you. You know, strong spoken word artist and writer based out of Trenton, New Jersey, Marvin Lewis is going to drop a little piece for y'all before we leave out. So,
all right. So I'm Nataki.
And I'm Talib. We're blacking it out.
I am Melanie's son, brother to 4 angels, honored friend to some of the most amazing women who live, the son Hazel never had. I am Nina Simone's Bosendorf as she poured her soul through 10 spigots into our eardrums, with a song that states Nimakitupa, il faut oublier tout, puis s'oublier qui s'enfuit déjà. Such a beautiful language to articulate a burdened request, never to be left considering everything she has lost. And I am convinced that the anger which boiled in her heart was the innocent attempt to thaw her mother's cold love. I am Alicia Keys' Yamaha. Comfort in confrontation as Claudette Colvin remained planted in her seat 9 months before yet another petal of change in our bouquet of liberty was to blossom from Rosa. I am Lupita Nyong'o's gratitude, a small girl's mirror or silent philosopher. I am the lost appetite of Hannah in 1 Samuel 1. Her mumbled prayer from that crumpled heart in the eyes of Eli. I am the melodic fire that burns in Issa Rae's eyes. Their aperture is the size of God, and that smile, bright enough to blacken sun. I am the roller flex of Diane Arbus, Lorraine Hansberry's typewriter, the comely deportment of Misty Copeland, the angelic stature of Judith Jameson. I am a notebook belonging to the Harlem Renaissance own Alice Dunbar Nelson, that spark in the eye of Zora Neale Hurston. I am a book belonging to the Nigerian princess Nana Asma'u, Chimamanda's veracity. I am not claiming to be the reason for their existence, but consider this an ode to venerate their essence. This is a rhapsody for your warmth against today's cold assumptions of who you are, because you are splendid. Many have the patience, but you have a chance, so take it. Write your manuscript. Take those trips. Dare to love again. Record, choreograph, dance, pirouette on a limb. Start your business and tell them to mind theirs. Design your life until every doubt limps. Tell me, what are you waiting for? Who are you waiting on?